what's up, everybody? Welcome to week 2 of our Now What series. Whether you joined us in our live service on a Monday night, or maybe you're watching this for the first time, or maybe you want a recap, welcome. Really excited that you decided to check this out. We are in week 2 of the Now What series, and week 2 is going to be something that maybe you've heard before as far as the title, but it is faith over fear. That's really big right now. That's a good catchphrase, a good saying, but that's why we titled it this, because it holds up, and it's true. So first thing I want to talk to you guys about is that we all have a choice, right? We all have a choice in a lot of things in life, and most things in life, but we all have a choice when it comes to fear. We can be immobilized by it. We can be debilitated by it. We can actually let fear kill us, destroy us. We can actually let it rule our lives and immobilize us, just completely take us out of the game. So that's one option. Another option is that we can pretend that it doesn't exist. We can ignore it. We can try to act like it doesn't affect us. And I would venture to say that that's just as unhealthy as the first option there. And then we have an option where we can actually deal with the fear. We can actually say, okay, fear is a real thing, but it has no hold. And so I'm going to deal with it. And how we deal with it is through Jesus Christ. Just like we talked about last week, it ultimately we can overcome fear through knowing 3 things, because I believe we can all overcome fear. And so just like we kind of talked about last week, quick recap, we can all overcome fear because God is for you, God's gifts are greater, and God is with you. When we understand these things, we can really actually begin to move forward in overcoming fear, not on our own strength, right, but through Jesus Christ. The only way, actually, that we can truly live this out is through a life of faith, a dedicated life of faith. And that's why we've called this faith over fear. Faith has to be paramount. Faith has to be where we live. We have to live on that plane of faith and not that plane of fear. Indiana Jones. Has anybody ever seen Indiana Jones? Good movies. Watched them when I was a kid. They still hold up today, in my opinion. But I'm thinking of the third one specifically, right, where we have, it's called The Last Crusade. And Indiana Jones' dad is introduced in this film. It's played by none other than Sean Connery, right? And he is in peril at the end of this film. He's, I think, shot. And Indiana Jones is rushing to go find the literal Holy Grail, like the actual Holy Grail, and he's trying to get this like living water to heal his father, and so he's got to go through these different tests in this kind of labyrinth of traps and different tests and things, and so as he gets to, I think, his second test, it's called the leap of faith. The leap of faith. Let's check out the clip here.
Wrath of God. Only in the leap from the lion's head will he prove his worth. It's impossible. Nobody can jump this. Ah! Indy, you must hurry. Come quickly. It's a leap of faith. You must believe, boy. You must believe.
So as we just saw in that clip, we have the opportunity to live that way. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean that there's not something real there to hold us up, to lift us up. Just because we can't see how it's going to work out doesn't mean that it's not good for us to take this step of faith. And so this is where I am, that faith over fear. Here's the main idea that I have for you guys today, is that faith always trumps fear. Faith always trumps fear. And I think that faith trumps fear because faith reveals the truth about fear. That's very important. Faith actually does the revealing about what fear really is. Faith reveals fear's true motives. And so I think that faith always trumps fear. And we're going to look at three things, how it brings this realization of what the truth about fear is. So number one, fear is a liar. It's a stinking liar. Fear is a liar. Jesus has this interaction with these Jews in Jerusalem in John chapter 8, and he people are saying, well, we're children of Moses, we're children of Abraham. Who in the world are you? And Jesus says, basically, he's like, children of Abraham, more like children of the devil, pretty much. Here's what he says in John 8:44. For you are the children of your father, the devil, and you love to do the evil things he does. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth because there is no truth in him. Here it is, guys, right here. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Here it is, guys. The enemy only knows how to speak lies. It's his native tongue. It's like when he speaks, he's lying to you. And so here's a wonderful realization that fear is a liar, because when you begin to listen to fear, you actually know. When you begin to listen to the enemy, you can actually know that the opposite about you is true. So when you begin to listen to fear that you're not loved, you actually begin to realize, oh man, I must be loved a lot for fear, for the enemy to be telling me that. If you begin to think about yourself that, you're worthless, if fear begins to tell you, the enemy begins to tell you you're worthless, you're no good, you can actually know the opposite of that is true. Are you getting me? Do you hear me? Are you understanding this? That we actually are at this place now where we can say, okay, I hear what fear says, and fear is actually an indicator of the opposite about me. So I'm actually worth a great deal. I am worth dying for. I am worthy of God's love. Wow. Not because of anything I've done, but because of his son, Jesus Christ, and what Jesus Christ has done for me. So that is a huge realization that we get to have. So one, fear is a liar. Number two is that fear is actually an opportunity. Fear is actually an opportunity for us to flex our faith. Say that with me. Flex our faith. This is what I want you to do. If you're watching at home, if you're watching out, you're watching on the toilet, whatever, I don't care. If you're watching in a coffee shop and there's people around you, I don't care about that either. This is what I want you to do. I want you to all just give me your best, flex. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Flex your faith. Fear is an opportunity to flex our faith. James 1, verses 2 through 4 says it very clearly. He says here, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Verse 3, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Verse 4, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Okay, get this. When we go through tough times, when we go through difficulties, we actually have an opportunity here for growth. We can look at it, again, we have a choice. We can look at it as an opportunity to like tuck tail and run, right? But just like we talked about last week, God did not give you that spirit of timidity, but he gave you a spirit of power, of love, and of self-discipline. And so to work that spirit out through faith is considering it actually an opportunity for you to grow. Okay, we all have kind of been in the same boat with this quarantine, right? And unless you have like an incredible home gym, you probably have like either stopped working out or maybe you never worked out to begin with or whatever. And or maybe you tried to do some home workouts. Maybe they didn't work. Maybe they did work. I know we're kind of all over the spectrum on this, but one of the things that those of us who have gone to the gym like once in my life, and want to get back to the gym, I know that when I start going back, right, that I'm going to start lifting weights. I'm going to start doing things that my body might not be used to. And my muscles are going to get sore. And my muscles are going to hurt. And I might be, pushing weight or pulling weight or whatever. And it might not even hurt for, 5, 10 reps. But on that 11th rep, on that 12th repetition, when those muscles begin to like scream and like, stop, what are you doing? In that pain is actually where the growth happens. Everything up to that point is just prepping those muscles for growth. And so we have to understand that in those last 2 reps, in that short, very difficult amount of time, there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of growth. And then after it, you're sore the next day. And then day 2 rolls around and you're even more sore. And you're like, what in the world is happening? But you understand if you're consistent here, then all of a sudden you begin to grow and your muscles grow. And all of a sudden you're looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay? So, or insert favorite bodybuilder or buff dude here. Or girl. There's a lot of buff girls. Anyways, we'll move on from that. We have sore muscles, right? So in the same way, we have what I like to refer to as our faith muscles that we get to flex, right? And so sore here is from us going through a difficult time, having faith, persevering, standing strong. It can really work itself out in the day after and the day after as like exhaustion, right? As maybe emotionally weak. But there's good news for those of us that have felt that way or that may be feeling that way right now. 2 Corinthians 12, verses 9 through 11 says this. It says, each time he said, my grace is all you need. This is Paul speaking to the church at Corinth here. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weakness, Paul says, so that the power of Christ can work through me. Verse 10, that's why I take pleasure in my weakness and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Wow. Only when we realize that what we are doing is for Jesus Christ. Only when we realize that our weakness is actually our strong point can we persevere and can we grow. Fear is actually an opportunity to flex our faith. Lastly, point number 3 is that fear has no hold. And as I wrap up here, I just want you to be encouraged today to know that fear has no hold on you. John 8:36 says, if the Son sets you free, you are truly free. Let me rephrase this. John here is talking about Jesus. And so Jesus is often referred to as the Son. And so what John is saying here is that if Jesus has set you free, man, you are truly free. If Jesus is the one that's broken your chains, don't expect those chains to return. You actually are free. So you might have been afraid for a long time, but I want to encourage you that no longer do you have to let fear hold you down. And especially if God is for you, who can be against you? Be encouraged by that today. So here's a question I want to leave you with, is which is greater in your life today? Faith or fear? Which is greater? Which are you giving more attention to? Which are you growing? Are you fostering your fear to grow? Or are you allowing, fostering